Chapter 381, The Final Transformation. On the boundless sea, a pair of dark eyes slowly opened, fixating on Sea God Island. "Mama, did father fall?" a smaller deep-sea demon whale asked at her side, voice trembling with grief. The larger whale replied, sorrow in her tone. Sea God Island, Sea God Island, the little whale muttered. They will pay for this someday. We should leave. It might not be safe here, the mother said. We'll go to the Stardew Great Forest. The Demon Emperor cast one last look toward Sea God Island, then led Lan Fozi and the others away toward the Great Forest. Half a month later, Tian Yao, who had successfully absorbed the deep-sea demon whale king's spirit ring, opened her eyes and flexed her spirit power with a pleased smile. 4 levels. I've risen by 4 levels. She rose, glanced at Ye Shi, still in the process of absorbing her spirit ring, then walked over to the corpse of the deep-sea demon whale king. After some searching, she found a torso bone and a large whale pearl within the remains. With those gathered, Tian Yao returned to sit beside Ye Shi and waited silently. Time moved forward. Ye Shi took a full 2 months to absorb the Evil Eye Saint King's spirit ring. The spirit ring's vast store of energy pushed her spirit power up by 7 whole levels, raising her to a peak Douluo at spirit rank 97. Along with that explosive growth came 4 new spirit abilities. 9 Nether Saint King's Break condenses spirit power into a column of light that locks onto the enemy and strikes with devastating force. Death Judgment Sword, a blade forged from death itself, sacrifices the wielder's life force to deal judgmental strikes. The more life force expended, the greater the attack. Slaughter Lightning Punishment converts spirit power into a lightning scourge, delivering sweeping, destructive strikes that bypass all spirit defense techniques. Saint King's Blessing. When injured to the point of death, this ability prevents fatality, rapidly heals wounds, and temporarily boosts all attributes by 200%. As Ye Shi opened her eyes, a burning sensation crawled through her body, as if something ancient and terrible were waking. An irresistible drowsiness washed over her. What's meant to come will come, she thought, and the words seemed to pass through her like wind. The final transformation of her spirit stirred. Her eyelids grew heavy, her posture relaxed, and she slipped into a deep sleep. Tian Yao hurriedly supported her as she began to fall and carried her back to her room to rest. Inside that slumber, Ye Shi fell into a strange vision that felt less like a dream and more like a memory. She saw the angel god and the Asura god and other divinities she did not recognize. Opposite them loomed a 9-colored dragon whose radiant scales writhing with light. Its eyes burned with chaos as it fought the gods. Heavenly shattering strikes slammed into the earth around them, the battlefield torn apart. The clash raged on. Just as the angel god was grievously wounded and about to fall, a blood-red shaft of light fell from the sky, bearing a long sword. It struck the dragon's forehead and shattered a scale clean off. The light dispersed into the phantom image of an angel with 6 pairs of black wings. The dragon flicked the sword aside without effort, its roar echoing through the heavens. The roar sliced through 3 pairs of the angel phantom's wings before the angelic figure faded back to the angel god. Images passed swiftly, finally freezing on the day of the blood moon. The angel god, recovered, raised a hand and sent down a blood-red beam. Then the scene faded. Slowly, the burning within her eased. Ye Shi's eyes trembled and opened. She examined her spirit, and her expression turned thoughtful. The spirit had completed its final transformation. The 12-winged slaughter angel martial soul. The visions felt less like random dreams and more like fragments of a long-buried past. She pieced it together. This was likely from the time she first transmigrated into this world, arriving amid a war in the god realm. In that clash, she had struck the dragon god, ripping off a scale. The dragon's roar had shattered her original 12 wings into 6. The angel god had taken her away, restored her, transformed her into an infant, and sent her down to the mortal world, where she was eventually found by Qian Daoliu. All of that had led to the life she now remembered. Ye Shi smoothed her breathing. The dragon god's might had left an impression on her. She could still feel her heart tighten at the memory of its power. She forced herself into calmness. It was a dream, she told herself, not something I can't defeat. Before she could probe further, a voice resonated in her mind. The Asura god's voice. Asura's 4th trial complete. Reward: spirit power increased by 1 level. All spirit rings gain 50,000 years. Asura god intimacy plus 30%. Asura's 5th trial: experience pure slaughter. Assessment location: Slaughter City, Inner City Grand Hall. Completion time: half a year. Yeshi felt another surge. Another level climbed. She smiled quietly. 98. She was now a level 98 peak Douluo. She stood, stretched, and released her spirit to survey her ring configuration. 3 black and red 10,000-year rings, 4 blood red 100,000-year rings, and 2 golden rings, each in the million-year range. It wasn't utterly unprecedented, but it placed her among the continent's elite. Sunlight filtered in, the storm had passed, and a fresh breeze carried salt and the tang of the sea. Yeshi felt unusually capable. At her current strength, she was flirting with demigod territory. Reversing what her sister had done, if that was still possible, didn't seem out of reach now. A hint of mischief and resolve flared in her azure eyes as she considered her next moves, already calculating possibilities. "Young miss, you're awake. Would you like something to eat?" Qian Yao scampered over, hopeful. "Let's catch a few sea fish and make grilled fish," Yeshi said, snapping her fingers. She headed toward the beach with Qian Yao at her heels. Meanwhile, in Spirit City, within the angel's secret realm, Qian Renshui sat cross-legged before an angel statue. She sneezed inexplicably, a soft sound that broke her meditation. "Who's thinking of me?" she murmured aloud, a half-smile forming on her face. "Is it Sheer?" With Chapter 380, The Far North Falls. Qian Renshui murmured to herself and closed her eyes, sitting cross-legged before the angel statue. Strands of divine light poured down over her, lending her an air of sanctity and inviolability. In the main hall, where political affairs were handled, Ye Qingshe read the message in her hand with a grave expression. Each word sank heavily into her features. "The far north has fallen." Third offering, Qingluan was badly wounded, but with the Snow Empress's help, the losses weren't catastrophic. They've withdrawn to Snowy Domain City. Ye Qingshe read slowly, then rose and called out, "Has the Pavilion Master returned?" Someone entered the hall at once. "Hallmaster, the Pavilion Master has not returned." "And Her Majesty the Empress, the Supreme Pontiff?" The man shook his head. "Her Majesty has not returned since her last departure. His Holiness, the Supreme Pontiff, is currently in seclusion in the Douluo Hall." Ye Qingshe hesitated for a moment, then took the message and headed for the Hall of Offerings. "You may withdraw. I'm going to the Hall of Offerings to find the High Priest." "Hallmaster, the High Priest left this morning and is not in the Hall of Offerings." Ye Qingshe paused. The 4 people who could make decisions, the Spirit Empire's head, the Spirit Hall, the Hall of Offerings, and the Frost Snow Pavilion, were all absent. For a moment she felt helpless. But she pressed on. The situation in the far north could not wait. She would assemble the offerings and elders herself. At the Hall of Offerings, she found the second offering and laid out the facts. Golden Crocodile's face hardened as he listened. "Don't worry just yet," he said. "The High Priest went to perform rites at the tomb of the previous Supreme Pontiff and should return shortly. I'll summon all the elders and offerings to the Hall of Offerings for an emergency meeting." He had someone send the summons and ask the 7th offering to call the High Priest back. It wasn't long before Qian Daoliu returned. After a brief deliberation, he made a decision. "I'll go inspect the situation in the far north myself. Guangling, Qianjun, Jiang Mo, you will each lead a Spirit Master Corps of 50,000 to reinforce the far north. When I'm away, if anything happens, report directly to Golden Crocodile." With that, Qian Daoliu turned to Ye Qingshe, exchanged a look with the others, and they dispersed to prepare. Shortly after, Qian Daoliu left Spirit City alone and set off north. On Sea God Island, the scene was quieter. Ye Shi, pleasantly sated, patted her flat stomach and watched Xiaobai playing in the surf with blue eyes that were calm but alert. "Qian Yao, I have to leave. Keep an eye on Xiaobai while I'm gone. Even though the deep-sea demon whale king was killed, there are still other powerful sea beasts, some stronger than Xiaobai. I'm worried the disturbance might have awakened them. They may not know exactly who killed the demon whale king, but since it fell near Sea God Island, the island could draw their attention." Tian Yao glanced toward Xiaobai and answered seriously, "Young miss, don't worry. I'll protect Xiaobai." Ye Shi nodded. opened a spatial rift, and stepped through. As the rift closed, Tian Yao's gaze hardened with resolve. "Xiaobai, I'll protect you," she murmured, and moved toward the shore. A silent spatial rift opened elsewhere. Ye Shi emerged into Hell Road and passed through it, reappearing at Slaughter City. She strode straight to the Slaughter King's palace. The guest elder standing outside the main hall hurried forward to greet her, but Ye Shi dismissed the formality with a wave and entered. She stopped dead inside. The main hall she had known all her life, the black, oppressive chamber that matched the Slaughter King's fearsome reputation, had been transformed. Pink now dominated the space, giving it a girlish, almost frivolous air. A cute cloth doll sat on the main seat. Ye Shi stepped back, closed the door, opened it again, and stared in bewilderment. Is this my main hall? How did it become like this?" She called the guest elder over. He bowed hurriedly. "King, I had the main hall changed. I thought the previous style might not suit you, so I remodeled it in pink." Ye Shi's expression went cold. A dangerous light flickered in her azure eyes. In other places, a change of decoration might be harmless, but this was Slaughter City, the main hall of the Slaughter King. The old, oppressive dignity fit the house's nature. This did not. "You should be managing Slaughter City, not redecorating heirlooms," Ye Shi said flatly. "Put it back the way it was, and if anything like this happens again, you won't remain guest elder." The guest elder swallowed and hurried off to rectify the mistake. Ye Shi continued to the innermost chamber, where a blood-red barrier sealed off the Asura god's sanctum. Only the Asura god's inheritor could approach. Beyond the barrier stood the statue of the Asura god. Before it, a blood-red sigil pulsed, threads of light descending across its pattern. She sat down in the center of the sigil and assumed a cross-legged posture. As light streamed over her, the killing intent coiled in her heart flared and rose to an intoxicating, terrifying peak. Chapter 383, 5 Tests of Shura. The pure, unadulterated killing intent thrilled Ye Shi's spirit. The 12-winged slaughter angel spirit rose instinctively from her back. Her eyes, once azure, flushed a deep blood red. A cold, numbing pressure, like being plunged into icy water, spread from her soul through her body, making her gasp for breath. It was suffocating, but she could feel her physique strengthening with every second. Clenching her jaw against the pain, Ye Shi closed her eyes and sat cross-legged. Time stretched and blurred, an instant or 100 years, and then, just as her physique hit its limit, something inside her shattered like glass. A sharp, bone-deep ache tore through her as the broken pieces stitched themselves back. Sweat beaded on her forehead. The agony lasted and then ebbed, replaced by a calm, unprecedented lightness. A faint blood-red glow wrapped around her. Asura 5 trials completed. Rewards: demigod physique. Spirit power increased by 1 level. All spirit rings cultivation age increased by 70,000 years. Asura god intimacy, 40%. Asura 6 trials. Kill a person or a spirit beast at the level of a 99th rank limit Douluo. Time limit, half a year. Ye Shi opened her eyes and exhaled slowly. Limit Douluo, an altitude ordinary people could never reach in a lifetime, and she had reached it before she was 21. She curled her fingers into a fist, feeling the raw power pulsing in her body, and a bright smile spread across her face. The 6th trial sounded dangerous, but not impossible. Her thoughts turned north. Limit Douluo on the continent could be counted on one hand. The far north housed a handful of such experts aligned with the Holy Church. That would be her target. But first, Spirit City. She wanted to return there to carry out a long-nursed, slightly rebellious plan. For someone like her, crossing to Spirit City or the far north was nothing more than slipping through a spatial rift. Spirit City, Douluo Hall, at the entrance to the Angel Secret Realm. "Sister, I'm back." A spatial rift opened, and before she had fully stepped through, Ye Shi's voice called out. She strode confidently into the Angel Secret Realm. The 12-winged slaughter angel spirit still hovered behind her. Demigod physique, 99th rank spirit power, and terrifying spirit ring configuration. It left her all but invincible below the level of a divinity. Confidence radiated from her like heat. Azure eyes met pale golden ones. Qian Renshui studied Ye Shi and saw the same mixture there she knew so well. 3 parts confidence, 3 parts provocation, 4 parts resolve. Thinking of rebelling? Qian Renshui narrowed her eyes. She understood Ye Shi perfectly. The angel spirit had unfolded from behind Qian Renshui as well. Because Yeshi had completed her metamorphosis, Qian Renshui's spirit had synchronized into a 12-winged form too. Yeshi noticed Qian Renshui's 9 spirit rings condensing, golden light pouring down from the angel statue like a miniature galaxy, wrapping Qian Renshui in rings of divine radiance. "I've good news," Qian Renshui announced. "I just completed the Angel 9 trials." Yeshi blinked, watching those golden rings form. 1, 2, 3, 7, 9? 9 divine rings? Yeshi's brow tightened. Isn't Angel God a first-rank divinity? That should be 7 rings, not 9. She glanced at Qian Renshui's spirit, suspecting the 12-wing transformation had something to do with the extra rings. Still, she was genuinely pleased. Qian Renshui had passed, become a divinity. It was a moment worth celebrating. Maybe she had been too obvious when she first arrived. Quietly, Yeshi opened a small spatial rift and began to slip toward it. She barely made it through before a hand caught her. Qian Renshui, smiling yet unreadable, held Yeshi by the waist. "Sheer, where are you going?" Yeshi forced a smile. "I was going to go tell Grandpa the news." Qian Renshui's eyes twinkled. "Don't rush off. Let's talk first." Before Yeshi could maneuver away, Qian Renshui's form blurred, and the two of them vanished from the angel's secret realm together. Night fell. The lights stayed on in their room until the first pale wash of dawn. Only when daylight crept in did the lamps finally go out. Yeshi collapsed onto the bed, exhausted, and slept the sleep of one who had pushed past a boundary. From the night's events, Yeshi had learned something valuable. There was a huge gulf between a demigod physique and a truly deified physique. Both had God in the name, but the difference felt like heaven versus earth. Qian Renshui watched Yeshi sleeping and smiled to herself, feeling the divine current still thrumming in her own body. Becoming a divinity had been a qualitative change. "And I can remain on the continent for another 100 years, she murmured, "so there's no rush to go to the God realm." She released her divine thought and swept a careful scan over Spirit City. She didn't find Qian Daoliu. Checking the time, she decided that first thing in the morning, she would go to the Hall of Offerings and ask the others there about his whereabouts. Chapter 384, Angel Judgment. Early morning. Qian Renshui glanced at Yeshi, still sound asleep, then slipped out of the room in a few quiet steps and went to the Hall of Offerings to learn the current situation. After catching up on the news, she returned and waited silently for Yeshi. It wasn't until late morning that Yeshi finally rose. "Awake?" Qian Renshui asked. "The situation in the far north isn't good. Let's go take a look," Yeshi replied. Qian Renshui smiled slightly as she sat. "Okay," Yeshi agreed and washed up. Just as she was about to open a spatial rift, Qian Renshui took her hand. "No need to open a rift. I'll take you." Divine force coalesced around Qian Renshui. In an instant, her figure became a golden streak of light, carrying Yeshi northward. Far north, snowy domain city. On the frost-covered city wall, Qian Daoliu stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his gaze fixed on the figure hovering in the air. The man was Zhang Rui, leader of the holy cult. When Zhang Rui had first arrived at Snowy Domain City, he and Qian Daoliu had clashed. Both were 99th level limit Douluo, Zhang Rui only slightly weaker. The holy cult's numbers were greater, so the situation here had been grim. Despite that, Qian Daoliu remained calm. He had calculated the timing. Reinforcements from Guangling, Tianjin, and Jiangmo would arrive in a few days. As the angel god's divine envoy, he had also learned as soon as Qian Renshui became a divinity. In other words, he was waiting for support and for his granddaughter. "I think we might be able to talk," Zhang Rui called from midair, adopting a conciliatory tone. "As far as I know, the far north has only begun to develop recently. It's been a no man's land, but our holy cult doesn't ask for much. The far north should belong to us. From now on, we won't interfere with each other. No one under me will step beyond the border of the far north. What do you say?" Qian Daoliu's expression didn't change. "Do you know why the Spirit Hall was founded?" Zhang Rui's eyes narrowed. "To suppress evil soul masters," he said calmly, though a dangerous light crept into his look. Qian Daoliu's voice dropped. "Then it seems we can't make peace." Zhang Rui let out a light laugh. "I know you're waiting for reinforcements, but our people may be faster." He clapped once, and figures began to appear in the distance. Qian Daoliu watched them approach without alarm, a small smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. Then he saw a golden streak of light, the aura of a divinity, flash across the sky. Zhang Rui stared at Qian Daoliu, about to order his attack, when the golden light descended. The pressure radiating from it pinned Zhang Rui and his troops to the ground. Qian Daoliu's smile widened with visible relief. "A divinity," he whispered to himself, pride softening his features. "I cultivated a divinity, or at least temporarily." As the light dimmed, it revealed Qian Renshui and Ye Shi. "Grandpa," they said at the same time. Ye Shi's gaze fell on Zhang Rui. Her azure eyes brightened. "A limit Douluo," she murmured. If she cut him down, her own assessment could be completed. The slaughter sword materialized silently in her hand. "Shuer, you are already a divinity," Qian Daoliu reminded Qian Renshui, then turned to Ye Shi. "Shier, your sister is already a divinity. You must work hard too." Ye Shi nodded solemnly. "Grandpa, don't worry. I'm close to finishing my assessment." Qian Renshui stepped forward and looked disdainfully at the evil soul master before them. "Let's deal with this evil soul master first." She drew the angelic sacred sword, and a colossal angelic phantom slowly manifested behind her. Ye Shi hurriedly protested. "Wait, sister, leave that limit Douluo to me. This concerns my assessment." "Alive or dead?" Qian Renshui asked softly, holding her sword poised. "Preferably half dead," Ye Shi answered without hesitation. "Understood," Qian Renshui said, and then released her power. Angel's judgment. The angelic sacred sword struck down. A pillar of scorching light condensed and slammed into the evil soul master. The brilliance made onlookers squint. When the light faded, a 1,000-meter-long sword scar marked the snow, and Zhang Rui lay half dead at its base. The rest of his followers had been reduced to ash. Ye Shi stepped forward and delivered the final, precise strike, completing the 6 Asura trials. She returned to the city wall beaming and slipped her arm through Qian Renshui's. "The 6 Asura trials are complete," she said, joy brightening her voice. "Only the last 3 assessments remain. I'll be a divinity like you soon." Qian Daoliu reached out and patted Qian Renshui's shoulder. "All right, Shuer, you and Shier go back first. Let Shier continue her assessments. I'll finish the work in the far north." "Grandpa, I'll take Shier back then," Qian Renshui replied, nodding. She and Ye Shi transformed into streams of light and disappeared. Watching them go, Qian Daoliu allowed himself a faint smile. "The far north should be completely pacified now," he murmured, and then slowly walked down from the wall. 2 days later, Guangling, Tianjin, Jiangmo, and the reinforcements arrived at Snowy Domain City. Under Qian Daoliu's command, they swept through the far north and eradicated the remaining evil soul masters. The Great Purge lasted 4 months. Only when there was no trace of evil soul masters left did Qian Daoliu lead Guangling and the others away from the region. Meanwhile, Shui Binger, who had been administering Snowy Domain City, handed its management over to Shui Yuewer and traveled into the heart of the far north to continue her ice god assessment. Chapter 385, The New Shura God. After the far north was completely pacified, war vanished from the entire continent. The vast Spirit Empire began to recuperate. Under Qian Renshui's supervision, Spirit Hall ran like a well-oiled machine. In the 5th month, Bibi Dong, who had been in the Rakshasa secret realm, finished her final assessment and became the new Rakshasa god. Time flew. 2 years passed quietly. Slaughter City. In front of the Asura god statue, Ye Shi sat cross-legged, immersed in meditation. Just as she was about to complete her final assessment, she rose from her position. The Asura god's phantom, standing before the statue, looked at her in surprise. He had been ready to hand over the god position, but Ye Shi stood up with a single second left, leaving the assessment unfinished. "What's wrong?" he asked. "The assessment was nearly complete. Why did you get up?" Ye Shi leaned against the statue, her pale blue eyes quietly studying him. "I don't see any need to rush into becoming a god. A few months ago, your sister and Aunt Dong were suddenly drawn into the god realm and only just returned," the Asura god continued. "Did something happen there?" Ye Shi's expression was calm. Something did happen. He sat down beside her. "What was the outcome?" "They stopped it, but they didn't stop it," Ye Shi said. "The Golden Dragon King emerged from the God-forbidden zone. Because it was urgent, the God realm sent your sister and Aunt Dong to help. The Golden Dragon King voluntarily took out its divine core and flung it toward the Stardow Great Forest." If nothing unexpected happens, she added, once the Silver Dragon King in the Stardow Great Forest fuses with that divine core, the dragon god will reappear. The Asura god looked at her. I could have intercepted the divine core, but I didn't. You mean? Yeshi prompted. It was a misunderstanding back then, he said softly. The Golden Dragon King was sealed in the God-forbidden zone because the God realm couldn't defeat the dragon god at the time. But once you become a god, and you and your sister use fusion together, your combined power is estimated to reach creation god level. That's why I let the core go. Thought flickered across Yeshi's face. So it's negotiable. The dragon god himself said that if he returns, the spirit beast race cannot become gods unless the situation demands it, the Asura god explained. The dragon god had already fallen into chaos then. Once the one in the Stardew Great Forest becomes a god, if you don't want to fight, you can convene a god realm meeting to discuss it. Of course, if you want to fight, that's also an option. Any other questions? He asked. No, Yeshi said. She sat back down and continued the assessment. When it finished, she shattered the final barrier. Her spirit power rose from a level 99 limit Douluo to level 100. 9 divine rings manifested behind her. As the god position transferred completely, the Asura god's phantom slowly faded. Yeshi had become the new Asura god. Her divine thought sank into her sea of consciousness. She drew out 3 spirit bones she had carried, the bones of the Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion, the Evil Eye Tyrant Overlord, and the Evil Eye Saint King, and unleashed a vast divine force. Their phantoms solidified and were revived. Under that divine force, both the Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion and the Evil Eye Tyrant Overlord broke past the million-year limit and became divine beasts, though neither obtained a god position. The Evil Eye Saint King's strength, for now, remained unchanged at the level of a second-rank god. In human form, the Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion stretched, then threw herself into Yeshi's arms. I knew it, Xiaoxi. You kept your word. She laughed, eyes bright with joy. What do they call us among humans? Best friends, Yeshi answered with a faint smile. The Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion nodded eagerly. Right, best friends. Here, this is the myriad-year mysterious ice marrow we talked about. It's all yours. You don't have a god position yet. I'll find the most suitable god position for you, Yeshi said, handing over the myriad-year mysterious ice marrow. With this much, Sister Shuer should be able to break past the million-year limit. The Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion accepted it happily, but noticed the Evil Eye Tyrant Overlord looking hesitant. She raised an eyebrow. What are you doing? Big eyeball, don't even think about the myriad-year mysterious ice marrow. It's mine, the Evil Eye Tyrant Overlord declared, trying to sound possessive. Mine. The Evil Eye Tyrant Overlord glanced at the Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion with a calm expression. I'm not an ice attribute spirit beast, and I've already broken past the million-year limit. What would I do with ice marrow? It's about the god position, isn't it? I also sacrificed myself back then, and I'm absolutely loyal to Big Sister. The Evil Eye Saint King rolled its eyes inwardly. Shameless, it thought. If it hadn't restrained him back then, he probably would have self-destructed. Hardly voluntary loyalty. If there's a suitable god position for any of you, I'll let you know, Yeshi said. And Snow Empress, don't break past the million-year limit yet. If the dragon god reappears, I'll see if we can negotiate before you advance. The Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion nodded seriously. Understood. You can count on me. I'm heading back to the far north, she added. Are you two going back to your original homes, or will you come with me for now? Yishi turned to the Evil Eye Tyrant Overlord and the Evil Eye Saint King. I'll go with boss. I, little tiger, have always been loyal, the Evil Eye Saint King declared immediately. I'll go with Big Sister. The Evil Eye Tyrant Overlord considered for a moment, then strode to Yeshi's side. It was now a divine beast. What was the point of returning to the Fiend Forest? Would that give it a god position or increase its strength? All right, then let's go. Oh, little evil, Yeshi said with a small smile. The title Big Sister can be changed. It doesn't really suit me, and you can now take human form. Don't always be that big eyeball. Chapter 386, Divine Realm Conference, Final. Yeshi returned to Spirit Hall in the company of the Evil Eye Saint King and the Evil Eye Tyrant Overlord. After explaining the situation to Qian Renshui and Bibi Dong and earning their approval, the group set out for the god realm. As the newly appointed Ashura god, Yeshi convened a meeting of the god realm. The 4 god kings and a host of principal divinities gathered at the god realm committee. In the committee, Yeshi reiterated what the previous Asura god had said before passing on that divine station. The god of destruction neither agreed nor opposed. The goddess of life leaned toward agreement. After a vote among the chief divinities and god kings, those who favored discussing the issue first prevailed. The goddess of life even took the initiative to travel to the Star Do Great Forest to consult with Gu Yuena. With that, the meeting adjourned. Yeshi, Qian Renshui, Bibi Dong, and the others returned to the continent. Qian Renshui resumed managing Spirit Hall's affairs, while Yeshi began searching the land for scattered god positions. His search turned up the god position the goddess of kindness had left behind. After some thought, Yeshi notified the Snow Empress in the far north of its location. He also informed the Evil Eye Tyrant Overlord where the underworld god's position lay, guided the Ice Empress to the Ice Frost goddess's spot, and found a more suitable god of gloom position for Duguyan. Having placed each position in good hands, Yeshi returned to Spirit City. The first thing he did upon returning was hand the title of Frost Snow Pavilion Master to Ling Yuan. Then, using his divine force, he carved a secret realm inside the Hall of Offerings to raise the aptitude limits and potency of the offerings kept there. In a garden bright with blossoms of every hue, Yeshi lay with his head in Qian Renshui's lap, quietly staring up at the blue sky. Huliana gently swung his arm, her eyes full of expectancy. "Xiaoxi, what do you think of my aptitude?" "Teacher said that with your aptitude, you might be able to give it a try," Yeshi answered. "Don't even joke about it," Huliana protested. "I really did find a god position that's very suitable for you. Maybe you should try it," Yeshi added, thinking for a moment before speaking. "Really?" Surprise lit Huliana's face. "Yes, it's the legacy left by the god of charm." Yeshi snapped his fingers. A spatial rift opened in midair before Huliana. Grateful and excited, she stepped through the rift and vanished. No sooner had she gone than small, eager footsteps approached. "Second sister, I just underwent my spirit awakening." Qian Chen scampered up to Yeshi, eyes bright. "Grandpa said my talent is very good, and he said divinities can bestow 10 levels of divine force. Second sister, can you give me some?" Yeshi's eyelids were half closed. He looked drowsy. "Give you what?" 10 levels of divine force," Qian Chen pleaded. "If you give me some, and if the big sister bullies you later, I'll help you." "When did I ever bully Sheer?" Qian Chen protested, only to be tapped on the head by Qian Renshui. "Last night," she teased. "Last night your voice was," Qian Chen began, but Yeshi clapped a hand over his mouth. Bibi Dong, passing by, glanced up at the sky as if she had heard nothing. "I'll give you some," she said offhand. "And I'll give you a complete childhood," Yeshi muttered, breaking a twig in his hand through resentment. "This might hurt a little." "Sheer, use this instead." Qian Renshui took the twig and handed Yeshi her angelic sacred sword. Yeshi looked from the sword to Qian Chen, and for a moment imagined how poorly a misused blade might end for the child. He kept the sword sheathed and chose a gentler way. Time flowed on. Months passed in a blink. The goddess of life returned with good news. Gu Yuena of the Star Do Great Forest had agreed. Relieved, Yeshi and Qian Renshui completed Spirit Hall's arrangements and went to see Qian Daoliu together. "Grandpa, Sheer and I want to travel the continent and see the scenery. Do you want to visit the god realm?" Qian Renshui asked with a smile. Qian Daoliu considered it, then shook his head gently. "Not for now. I'll stay in Spirit Hall. When I want to go, I'll sense you two." With that, he returned to the Hall of Offerings. Yeshi and Qian Renshui exchanged a smile, transformed into streaks of light, and flew off into the distance. Spirits do not record years. Tian Yao, Ye Lingling, Shui Binger, Du Guyan, and the others who had earlier taken the assessments gradually rose to become divinities as well. End. Concluding remarks. Hello, dear readers. This book ends here. Mortal World would like to thank everyone who has supported the story from beginning to end. This could not have happened without you. There were many imperfections in the work, and due to censorship, some parts were modified or removed. I was not given details about what was changed or deleted, so I'm not sure myself. Finally, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all.